background is simple. You give a curriculum vitae when you give a lecture. So I have a couple bachelor's degrees, a master's degree, and I'm currently in a doctoral program for educational psychology. I want to discover how you learn a language after the age of 55. Because so far I've managed to maintain my monolingualness. So that's what I'm studying. But I had a certificate in human sexuality. I studied that when I was younger because everybody else had a date, which allowed me time to study. So I've learned lots of things. So tonight what we're going to talk about is attraction. Now attraction has its own attraction theory. How do human beings attract each other? But there's a sequence to this. There's the sex drive. The sex drive is not attraction. The sex drive simply wants to replicate genes. You just want to reproduce. That's what the sex drive is, and that's why it's so powerful. It doesn't care who you sleep with, it just wants to mate. This happens to a lot of presidents and sports figures. Because in typical standard selective model, every male would have to be 6'6", weigh 300 pounds, run a 10-second 100-meter, be able to bench press a car, and have an IQ of 140. Because the biggest and strongest would get the mate. And all women would have to be physically beautiful in order to attract a mate. And then we would go to wherever the women were, gather, beat each other up until you saw which one was left. In America, we call this a bar. Human pheromones are so powerful, like all the animal powerful. I'll give you an example of how powerful pheromones are. If you take the scent of a boar who's in heat and you put it on a fence post in a pig pen, the female pigs will try to mount the post. A turkey, they tried it with a turkey. First they used a stuffed turkey, then they took the feathers off, then they took a piece of wood and they put a head of a turkey on it, then they just put a piece of wood with 2 eyes on it and covered it with the scent, and they were still doing it. So that must be where the term woody came from. So it turns out women smell people who will give them healthy offspring. And that's what you're doing, you're smelling this, but you're not consciously aware of this. But that's why a lot of conversations start. The girl gives all the flirting signals, I call. She exposes her neck, she flicks her hair, she has a little you know, these are also going with presidents and sports people. So one of the best things you can do for attachment is just keep hugging each other. And hug as often as you can. Now make sure it's the right appropriate time, because you know, you come in the shower fully clothed and they get all angry. Or as you women like to do, I don't know why. Apparently when men are having a bowel movement, women feel very comfortable sitting on the edge of the tub and deciding that's the time they should talk about the children's school grades. Oh, I caught a lot more people with that one than I thought I would catch. And the guy is like, do you see what I'm doing? Yes, we don't usually come in on you, because our sense of smell may not be as good as yours, but we can guess. The romance system for breaking up with someone you love is exactly like, in the area of the brain that it hits is pain. The same centers line up if you break up as if you were in physical pain. Oh. I think that's another brilliant question. I think you should date her. That's a brilliant question. What he's saying is, can you intellectually be attracted to the opposite? Yeah, and that's what I do with Kathy. Kathy is, for example, she likes numbers, and she likes to know every number adds up correctly, so she's in charge of the money. Because to me, she'll go to me, how much did you spend today? And I'm like, I don't know, 300 bucks. And she goes, what? And I go, I was just kidding, I think it's 25. She goes, well, which is it? You know, because to me it's not important. But because Kathy's in charge of the money, we have some. So go from attraction to attachment, and then find out who the person really is. Thank you for your time.